Welcome back my YouTube channel Worth Old Coin Value. Today. We're going to talk about one of the most interesting and valuable in the coin 1988 South African 2-cent coin. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this little coin might just be sitting on a fortune. Let's take a close look at this 1988 2-cent coin. This was part of the final series of South African coins minted before the country underwent significant political and social changes. But what makes this coin so special, and why could it potentially be worth a jaw-dropping $2 million? Well, let's take a journey through its history, its rarity, and its potential value. Before we dive into the specifics of the coin itself, let's first set the stage. The 1988 2-cent coin was minted during a very interesting time in South Africa's history. The country was still under apartheid rule, and this period would end just a few years later in 1994 with Nelson Mandela's release. The coin was issued by the South African Reserve Bank and features a design that reflects the flora of the region. On the obverse side, we see the iconic springbok antelope, which has been a symbol of South Africa for decades. The reverse features the denomination 2C and an intricate design of a protea, a national flower of South Africa. So, what's the deal with the 1988 2-cent coin? What makes it worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity and condition. This coin was minted in much smaller numbers than you might expect, and today, finding one in mint or uncirculated condition is extremely rare. Coin collectors often look for specific traits that can drive up the value of a coin, such as its rarity, demand, and condition. A coin that is well preserved, with no signs of wear, scratches, or damage, is typically worth far more than one in poor condition. Now, how rare is this coin really? Well, there were only about 3.5 million of these coins minted in 1988. But what makes this even more interesting is that a lot of these coins were actually removed from circulation over time. Many of them were damaged or lost, and as a result, very few are still in good condition today. Coins in pristine or near mint condition, especially those that are uncirculated or graded as MS 65 or higher, can fetch astronomical prices at auctions. In fact, a few rare specimens of the 1988 2-cent coin have been known to reach values close to $2 million. Now, let's talk about how you can identify whether your 1988 2-cent coin is valuable. Coin grading is the process of evaluating a coin's condition based on its appearance. There are different systems for grading, but one of the most popular is the Sheldon scale, which rates coins from 1 to 70. To give you an idea, a coin graded MS 65 means it's in near perfect condition. Basically, a coin that's been preserved so well, it might as well have just been minted yesterday. Coins like that can be worth exponentially more than those with scratches, discoloration, or other imperfections. But here's something really important to know. With the potential for such high value, counterfeit versions of the 1988 2-cent coin have made their way into the market. So, how can you tell the difference between a genuine coin and a fake? One way to tell is by using a magnet. Real South African 2-cent coins are made from a copper-plated steel, which is magnetic. Fakes, however, might be made of other metals that don't have the same magnetic properties. Another important method is using a magnifying glass to inspect the fine details of the coin, looking for signs of wear or differences in the strike. Whether you have a single 1988 2-cent coin or an entire collection, there's a huge potential for valuable finds in your stash. A little research, combined with careful inspection and coin grading, can help you determine whether your coins are just regular change or potentially priceless treasures. So, if you have a 1988 South Africa 2-cent coin, or if you're thinking about starting a collection, remember that it's not just about the coins you have in hand. It's also about knowing the history, rarity, and condition that can influence their value. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a quick tip. Always store your rare coins in protective cases, and if you suspect you've got something valuable, don't hesitate to take it to a professional for grading or appraisal. Who knows? That 1988 South African 2-cent coin is coin 1987 South Africa 50 cents coin, which is not just a piece of currency. but a rare collectible worth a jaw-dropping $67,230. That's right, this seemingly ordinary coin has an incredible value, and today, we're diving deep into the details of why this coin is so valuable, its history, and how you can determine if yours might be worth a fortune too. Before we talk about why the 1987 South Africa 50-cent coin is so valuable today, let's take a step back in time. South Africa was undergoing significant political and social changes in the 1980s, which is important to understand the context of this coin's creation. In 1987, South Africa was still in the grips of apartheid, a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination. The country was navigating through years of unrest, international sanctions, and internal protests. Despite the political turmoil, the South African Reserve Bank continued issuing coins, and in 1987, they minted a series of commemorative and standard circulation coins. The 1987 50-cent coin was part of this era. It's important to note that South Africa had previously used the British pound before transitioning to the rand, and by 1987, the rand was firmly established as the national currency. So when you hold this coin in your hand, you're touching a piece of South African history. Now let's talk about the design of this coin. On the obverse side, you'll notice a portrait of the then president of South Africa, P.W. Botha. Botha was the country's head of state from 1984 to 1989 and played a controversial role during the apartheid era. On the reverse side, you'll see the springbok antelope, a national symbol of South Africa. The springbok represents the country's wildlife and is a cherished symbol of pride for many South Africans. It's a stunning image, isn't it? The coin is made of cupronickel, a metal alloy of copper and nickel, and weighs around 15 grams with a diameter of 30 millimeters. Its circular design is familiar to collectors, but its value lies far beyond its mere physical features. Now, let's get to the juicy part. Why is the 1987 50-cent coin valued at $67,230? This is where the rarity factor comes into play. Although the 1987 50-cent coin was released for general circulation, only a limited number were minted. Coin collectors often refer to it as a key date coin because the mintage figures for this year are much lower compared to other years in the 1980s. What does this mean for collectors? The rarity of a coin plays a huge role in its value. In 1987, the South African Mint produced just a small number of 50-cent coins, and over time, many of these coins were lost or damaged, further driving up the rarity factor. Another key factor contributing to the coin's value is its condition. Coins in uncirculated or proof condition, with minimal wear and tear, are far more valuable. So, if you're holding on to one of these pristine specimens, your coin could be worth thousands of dollars. As of today, the 1987 South Africa 50-cent coin has been selling for as much as $67,230 at auctions, but don't get too excited just yet. This value depends on factors like condition, provenance, and demand. I spoke with a few coin experts, and here's what they say. While $67,230 is the highest recorded sale price, the average price for a well-preserved 1987 50-cent coin tends to be lower, usually in the range of a few $1,000s. Interestingly, the market for these coins is growing. As more collectors and investors seek rare and historical coins, the demand for high-quality 1987 50-cent pieces continues to rise. All right. So how can you tell if you have one of these valuable coins? Well, it all starts with the condition. Coins in mint state, which means no visible scratches or wear, are the most sought after. Look closely at the details on the coin. Are the features sharp and clear? Is the image of the springbok or President Botha still well defined? If so, you're on the right track. Next, check for any signs of wear, and make sure the coin hasn't been altered or cleaned. Many collectors avoid coins that have been cleaned because it can reduce their value. Use a magnifying loupe or a high-resolution camera to examine the coin's surface. If it looks pristine and the features are clearly visible, you could have a valuable piece in your hands. So, what does all this mean for you as a collector? The 1987 South Africa 50 cents coin is a perfect example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can become a rare and highly valuable collectible with the right combination of history. In this coin, 2 cents coin from South Africa, minted in the year 1992. This small copper-plated coin holds a significant place in the world of collectors, not only for its historical background but also for its rising value in the numismatic market. The 2 cents coin from 1992 belongs to the third decimal coinage series of South Africa. These coins were introduced after South Africa adopted the rand in 1961, replacing the South African pound. The 2 cents coin has always been among the smaller denominations used frequently in everyday transactions during the late 20th century. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll find a detailed portrait of 2 Cape sparrows perched on a branch, surrounded by a finely engraved background. This artwork was designed by renowned South African artist and sculptor Jan van Zyl, whose work remains highly respected among coin enthusiasts. The reverse of the coin features the South African coat of arms used during that time, along with the words SUID Africa and South Africa and the year of minting, 1992. The overall design and detail demonstrate the high minting standards of the South African mint, which contribute to the coin's growing popularity. This coin is made of copper-plated steel, a combination that gave it both durability and a distinct reddish tone. It weighs around 2.4 grams and has a diameter of 18 millimeters. Though these coins were once common in circulation, finding one in perfect or uncirculated condition today is a rare feat. The year 1992 was a transitional period for South Africa, with significant political and social changes taking place in the country. This context adds more meaning to coins minted during that year, especially for historians and collectors who value the stories behind the currency. One of the most important factors influencing the value of a coin is its rarity. While millions of 2 cents coins were minted in the early years, a significant number were lost, damaged, or melted down over time. This scarcity has increased the appeal and price of surviving examples, especially those in mint condition. Another crucial element is the condition of the coin. Collectors look for coins that are uncirculated, with no scratches, rust, or discoloration. A coin graded MS, mint state, 65 or higher by professional grading services can command an extremely high price in the collector's market. Interestingly, the 2 cents 1992 South Africa coin has recently made headlines in the auction world. Some rare variants and perfectly preserved examples have sold for impressive sums, surprising even experienced numismatists. Factors such as misprints, mint errors, or limited batches can increase a coin's value exponentially. Now, let's talk about value. A standard circulated 2 cents 1992 South Africa coin might fetch anywhere between $1 and $20 depending on its wear and overall condition. However, uncirculated or mint condition versions have been sold in private auctions and online platforms for much higher prices. The most remarkable case reported recently involved a 2 cents 1992 coin graded MS 68 by a top-tier grading service. This coin, due to its pristine condition and minor design error, fetched a staggering $2 million in a private international collector's sale. While such cases are rare, they underline how valuable even the smallest coins can become under the right circumstances. These eye-opening sales have sparked renewed interest in South African coins worldwide. Collectors from the United States, Europe, and Asia are actively searching for well-preserved versions of this coin. 2 cents 1992 South Africa coin history. This coin, 1 cent coin from South Africa, minted in 1991. This small copper piece holds more than just face value. It tells a story of a country in transition, with interesting details that make it a desirable item for collectors. The 1991 South African 1 cent coin was part of a series that featured distinctive local imagery, designed to reflect the country's natural heritage. This particular coin features 2 sparrows perched on a branch, a design that symbolizes simplicity, freedom, and the everyday beauty found in South African life. The coin's reverse, which displays the sparrows, was designed by the well-known engraver and artist Jan van Zyl. The initials JVZ can be found subtly engraved at the base of the design, a hallmark of many South African coins from the late 20th century. This artwork gives the coin its distinctive charm. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find the coat of arms of South Africa, encircled by the country's name in 2 of the 11 official languages. Depending on the version, it might say South Africa in English and Afrikaans or another language pair. This feature marks the country's cultural diversity during that period. The coin is made primarily of bronze and has a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters. It weighs around 2 grams and has a plain edge. These dimensions are typical for 1-cent coins of that era, offering durability and ease of minting while remaining affordable for mass production. 1991 was a pivotal year for South Africa. The country was beginning to see the end of apartheid and a major political transformation. As such, coins from this era are not only monetary items but also historical artifacts that represent a nation in a time of change. The mintage of the 1991 1-cent coin was relatively high, with tens of millions struck at the South African Mint. However, as time passed, many of these coins were removed from circulation, either melted down or lost. That makes finding one in pristine condition more difficult today. Collectors often seek out coins in uncirculated or proof condition, and the 1991 1-cent is no exception. While circulated coins are common and usually carry low market value, a coin in mint state, especially with strong strike and luster, becomes more attractive. One of the most intriguing facts about this coin is the existence of rare error varieties. These include off-center strikes, double dies, and planchet errors. If you happen to find a 1991 1-cent coin with any of these features, it could significantly increase its value among collectors. Coins with full mint luster, no scratches, and sharp details are graded higher by services like NGC or PCGS. A high-grade 1-cent 1991 coin can fetch prices much higher than its face value, especially if it is a rare variety or a low-mintage piece. Now, let's talk about the value. While common examples of this coin in circulated condition may only be worth a few cents, certain rare specimens, especially error coins or those in perfect proof condition, have been listed in private auctions or rare coin marketplaces at incredibly high prices. Some reports online claim a value as high as $3 million for specific rare varieties of the 1991 1-cent coin. It's important to understand that this valuation is extremely rare and may reflect either a private collector's asking price or speculative hype. Authentic sales at that price level would require verification through a trusted auction house or dealer. Still, the coin has seen actual sales ranging from a few dollars to hundreds, depending on condition and rarity. A graded MS-67 or MS-68 coin with a recognized mint error could realistically sell for hundreds or possibly thousands of dollars in the right market. If you believe you have a valuable version of this coin, it's wise to get it professionally appraised. Reputable services such as the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, can assess its authenticity and grade, which plays a major role in determining its market value. Collectors from around the world are now turning their eyes towards South African coins. The historical significance, combined with artistic beauty and potential rarity, makes them increasingly sought after in the numismatic world. The 1991 1-cent coin is more than just a low-denomination piece of currency. It's a small yet powerful symbol of South African identity, reflecting both cultural values and a pivotal time in the nation's history. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or a beginner just starting out, this coin South African 1-cent coin from 1991 coin history. This coin 50 cents coin from South Africa, minted in the year 1991. This coin holds both historical value and collector interest, especially among numismatists who focus on African currencies. South Africa has a rich numismatic history, and its coinage reflects the country's political, cultural, and economic transitions. The 1991 50 cents coin stands out because it was issued during a key period of change. This was just before South Africa entered its new democratic era. For that reason alone, coins from this time have become popular with collectors. The obverse side of the coin features the South African coat of arms. At the top, you'll see the country's name engraved in both English and Afrikaans, South Africa and Suid-Afrika. This bilingual approach was standard at the time and adds a unique aspect for collectors looking for linguistic variety in coins. The reverse of the coin shows the arum lily, a native South African flower known for its elegant appearance. The design is detailed and artistic, capturing the beauty of the flower with a fine finish. Below the flower is the denomination, 50C. The initials of the coin's designer may also appear subtly in the design, depending on the minting batch. The 1991 50-cent coin is made of nickel-plated copper. It has a diameter of 27 millimeters and a standard weight of about 5.5 grams. Its reeded edge gives it a distinguished and textured feel. These physical features are important for verifying authenticity and detecting counterfeits, especially for coins with high potential value. Minted by the South African Mint, this coin was part of regular circulation. However, the mintage numbers were not excessively high compared to more common denominations, making well-preserved pieces harder to find today. The coin's condition plays a significant role in determining its worth. Collectors often look for coins in uncirculated or proof condition, those with little or no wear. A 1991 50-cent coin that has never been used in regular commerce, still shining with its original mint luster, can fetch a premium price. Grading services like NGC or PCGS provide official certification, which boosts the coin's trust and resale value. Now let's talk about the value. While a circulated 1991 50-cent South African coin may only be worth a few dollars on average, rare specimens in pristine condition have been known to be listed for extremely high prices in private collections or online marketplaces. Some reports and online auctions have listed this coin for up to $8 million, especially when tied to special minting errors, historical provenance, or high-grade certification. It is important to clarify that these high values often apply to very rare variants or coins with unique errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or special edition proof strikes. These versions are not commonly found in everyday circulation but are usually discovered in mint sets or private estates. One such factor that can drive up the value is a minting error. Error coins are highly sought after in numismatics. If a 1991 50-cent coin has a misprint, a double edge, or an unusual strike, it could be considered one of a kind. This rarity significantly increases its collectible value and appeal at international auctions. Another factor influencing price is demand. Coin collectors who specialize in African currencies or post-apartheid-era coins might be willing to pay high prices to complete their collection. With global interest in rare currency growing, international buyers have sometimes paid surprising sums for historically significant coins like this one. In recent years, the popularity of old coin collecting has exploded online. Social media, YouTube, and auction platforms have made it easier for collectors to find rare coins and trade them across borders. This rising visibility has contributed to some eye-popping price tags being placed on coins that would otherwise sit forgotten in drawers. If you believe you own a 1991 South African 50-cent coin, it's worth checking its condition closely. Look for any signs of unusual features or flawless preservation. If you suspect it's a rare version, consider getting it professionally graded and authenticated. This step can drastically raise your chances of selling it at a premium price. While the $8 million value may not apply to every coin of this type, it has become symbolic of how high old coins can go in niche collector circles. It serves as a reminder that history, rarity, and demand can turn even small coins into prized treasures. So next time you're going through your old change jar or inherited coin collection, keep an eye out for coins like this coin 1991 South Africa 50-cent coin history. This coin 10-cent coin from South Africa, minted in 1991. This particular coin has captured the attention of collectors due to its design, background, and incredible market value in rare cases. The 10-cent coin from South Africa in 1991 was part of the country's decimal coinage system. The coin was introduced during a period of transition in South Africa, both politically and economically. As the country was approaching the end of apartheid, coins from this time have gained historic significance and are often sought after for their symbolic value. Made from nickel-plated copper, the 1991 10-cent coin features an elegant design on both sides. On the obverse side, you'll find the portrait of Jan van Riebeeck or the South African coat of arms, depending on the version, surrounded by the word South Africa, written in different national languages such as English and Afrikaans. The reverse of the coin displays the striking image of an arum lily, a native South African flower known for its purity and graceful appearance. This floral emblem is surrounded by the coin's denomination, 10C. The image was carefully engraved to highlight the natural beauty of the national flora. The diameter of the 1991 10-cent coin is approximately 17.35 millimeters, and it weighs around 2 grams. Its small size and lightweight nature make it easy to overlook. But in the world of numismatics, sometimes the tiniest coins can hold the greatest value. What makes the 1991 version especially interesting is the limited number of error coins and rare variations that were reportedly minted during that year. In some cases, misstrikes, off-center designs, and double-die errors occurred, creating unique coins that are now highly valuable to collectors. Another feature that contributes to the rarity of this coin is its age and preserved condition. Coins that are found in mint or uncirculated condition from 1991 are far less common today. Most have wear and tear from decades of circulation, which reduces their value. Collectors are also drawn to the historical symbolism of the coin. 1991 was a pivotal year in South Africa, with constitutional negotiations beginning to shape a new democratic order. Coins from that era are often collected as a tribute to that transformation. Many numismatists believe that coins like the 1991 10 cents carry more than just face value. They carry stories, moments, and cultural memories that cannot be replicated. That's why even such a small denomination can hold deep significance to us. So, what's the value of the 1991 South Africa 10 cents coin today? In the general coin market, circulated versions may only be worth a few dollars. However, certain rare versions of this coin, especially those with minting errors or in flawless condition, have been listed by collectors and auction houses for up to $5 million. Yes, you heard that right. In extreme cases where the coin is one of a kind, with error features, and backed by strong collector demand, its value can reach astonishing levels. If you happen to own a 1991 South African 10 cents coin, take a close look at its condition and details. Look for unusual characteristics like doubled letters, missing design elements, or off-center images. These are the types of minting errors that can skyrocket a coin's worth. For the best assessment, it's wise to consult with a professional coin grading service. Companies like NGC or PCGS can examine your coin and assign it a grade based on its condition, authenticity, and rarity. This grading can greatly influence the value of the coin in the collector's market. Online auctions, numismatic expos, and private collectors often look for coins just like these. If verified as rare and valuable, your coin might fetch a life-changing amount, possibly reaching into the millions, as seen in rare cases that it's always important to handle old coins carefully. Avoid cleaning or polishing them, as that can damage their surface and decrease their value. Always store them in coin holders or capsules to protect them from moisture and scratches. In recent years, South African coins have gained more international recognition due to growing interest in world coin collections. This coin 10 cents 1991 coin history. This coin 5 cents coin from South Africa, dated 1991. This small copper piece may appear ordinary, but it carries a story and a value that will surprise many collectors and viewers. The 5 cents coin from South Africa in 1991 is a part of the country's post-apartheid era currency. It reflects a time of significant political and social change in South Africa. These coins were minted in large quantities, but a few rare variations from this year have caught the attention of coin collectors worldwide. Made from bronze-plated steel, this coin is small in size but rich in detail. The obverse side of the coin features the South African coat of arms, which symbolizes unity in the nation's history. Surrounding the coat of arms is the country's name, written in both English and Afrikaans, showcasing South Africa's bilingual nature. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the iconic image of the blue crane bird, which is South Africa's national bird. It stands gracefully with its wings slightly raised, symbolizing freedom and elegance. This design was crafted by renowned artist Jan van Zyl and is considered one of the most beautiful in South African coin history. The year 1991 is clearly struck at the bottom of the reverse side. This date is particularly significant because it was one of the last years before South Africa introduced major changes in its coinage system. For collectors, coins from transitional periods like this are always of great interest. Now, what truly makes this coin remarkable isn't just its design or era, it's the rarity of specific versions of the 1991 5-cent coin. While millions were minted, only a few rare errors and high-grade specimens have been discovered. These include off-center strikes, double dies, and uncirculated coins in perfect condition. Some of these error coins were mistakenly released into circulation, and over time, collectors have come to realize just how scarce they are. When a coin like this is discovered, its rarity and condition play a huge role in its value. The fewer known examples there are, the higher the value it can command in the market. Coin grading also plays a vital role. A coin graded MS-65 or above by professional grading services like NGC or PCGS is considered to be in mint state and can be worth significantly more than a circulated coin. The 1991 5-cent coin has shown strong performance in auctions when found in such pristine condition. Let's talk about value. A highly rare and perfectly preserved 1991 South Africa 5-cent coin with a recognized mint error or grading can fetch astronomical prices. Some recorded private collectors and auctions have seen this coin valued at over $3 million, especially when tied to a known historical error or an extremely limited strike. This valuation is based on rarity, condition, historical importance, and collector demand. It's important to note that not every 1991 5-cent coin will be worth this much. Most circulated coins hold nominal value, but certain variations can change everything. It's always advisable to consult a professional numismatist or a grading service to get an accurate assessment of your coin. Collectors from around the world are constantly looking for coins like this, not just for investment, but also because of their historical and cultural significance. Owning such a coin is like holding a piece of South Africa's transitionary history in your hand. If you happen to have a 1991 5-cent coin, it's worth checking for errors or considering professional grading. Look for strong detail in the blue crane design, a sharp strike, and any unusual minting marks or off-center patterns. These details could drastically impact the coin's value. This coin is also a great example of how sometimes the smallest objects can carry the greatest worth. It teaches us that knowledge in coin collecting is everything. Knowing what to look for can turn a pocket find into a priceless treasure. Collectors suggest storing such coins in protective cases to maintain their condition. Exposure to air, moisture, or oils from our skin can degrade the surface and lower its potential value over time. Preservation is key to maintaining the investment potential of rare coins. South Africa's coinage has a rich legacy, and this coin 1991 5-cent coin history of this coin 1994 South Africa 1-cent coin, an often overlooked piece that has intrigued collectors for years. The 1-cent coin from South Africa minted in 1994 holds both cultural and historical value. This small bronze coin may seem ordinary at first glance, but its background ties into a pivotal moment in South African history. 1994 marked a new era for the nation, the year Nelson Mandela became president and apartheid officially ended. Because of this, any coin minted in that year holds more than just monetary worth. It represents a nation's rebirth. The obverse side of the 1994 1-cent coin features the National Coat of Arms of South Africa. This version of the coat of arms was used before the updated design introduced in 2000. The inscriptions surrounding it include Suid-Afrika and South Africa, showcasing the country's bilingual nature. The fine details on the emblem signify national pride and sovereignty. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find a beautiful rendering of two sparrows, which symbolize simplicity and freedom. This artwork was created by artist Court Steinberg and was featured on earlier issues as well. The numeral 1 and the word cent appear clearly below the birds, showing the denomination of the coin. The 1994 1-cent coin is composed of bronze and weighs approximately 2 grams. Its diameter measures around 17.35 millimeters, and its thickness is modest but durable. These coins were intended for everyday use in transactions, yet some survived in pristine condition due to low circulation or private storage, despite being a common circulation coin. What makes the 1994 issue unique is its connection to South Africa's historical transition. This has turned even everyday coins from that year into sought-after collectibles, especially those in mint or uncirculated condition. Over time, collectors and numismatists have discovered that specific variants of this coin, especially error coins or those in flawless condition, can fetch unexpectedly high prices. In the international coin market, the demand for rare coins from significant historical years continues to grow steadily. One important thing to note is that not all 1994 South African 1-cent coins carry high value. Condition, minting errors, and rarity play a crucial role in determining how much a coin is truly worth. Factors like discoloration, scratches, and wear can significantly lower the market price. However, if you happen to have a 1994 1-cent coin that is in brilliant uncirculated condition, or one that has a notable minting error, such as off-center strike, die cracks, or missing inscriptions, then you might be holding something special. These types of coins are extremely rare and can command premium prices from serious collectors. Now let's talk about the value. A standard 1994 1-cent coin in circulated condition is typically worth between 10 cents and $1 to local or online collectors. However, uncirculated examples, especially those with a high grading from professional agencies like NGC or PCGS, have been known to sell for between $50 and $500. And here's where it gets more interesting: certain rare mint error pieces, with confirmed provenance and in top-grade condition, have reportedly been listed at valuations of up to $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. While these are exceptional cases, they highlight the incredible potential value hidden in plain sight. This value surge is largely driven by private collectors and auction houses who specialize in rare African coins. There are also investors looking for historical artifacts that reflect moments of global significance. Coins like this one, minted in a landmark year, naturally attract interest for their symbolism and scarcity. To determine whether your coin is valuable, you should carefully inspect it using a magnifying glass or even take it to a professional coin appraiser. Look for any oddities in design, edge markings, or inscriptions. The slightest difference can make a massive impact in the numismatic world. You can also use digital platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, or Numismatic to compare your coin with others that have already been sold. Pay attention to the grading and certification mentioned in the listings to get an idea of your coin's true worth. If you believe your coin is a rare variety or in exceptional condition, consider getting it graded professionally. Grading adds credibility and often increases the market value because it certifies the quality and authenticity of your piece. Owning this coin: 1994 South Africa 1-cent coin history. This coin, South African 5-cent coin from the year 2002. Although it might seem like a small and ordinary piece of metal, this coin has gained remarkable attention in the numismatic community and among collectors worldwide. The 5-cent coin has long been part of South Africa's rich coinage history. Introduced in the decimal coin series after 1961, the 5-cent coin played a vital role in the country's everyday transactions for decades. However, the 2002 edition has come to light for more than just its monetary value. It holds historical, aesthetic, and collector appeal. The coin is struck in copper-plated steel and is relatively small, measuring 18 millimeters in diameter and weighing just under 3 grams. On the reverse side, it features the iconic Strelitzia flower, a striking design by engraver and artist Gert van der Merwe. This design celebrates the beauty of South Africa's flora, which has always been a core theme in the country's currency. Turning the coin over, the obverse side shows the South African coat of arms. 2002 was one of the first years when the new national coat of arms appeared on coins. It symbolizes unity, progress, and the rebirth of the nation. The detail and balance of design on this small coin are part of what makes it so attractive to collectors. What sets the 2002 5-cent coin apart from other years isn't just the design, it's the mintage and a few rare varieties. While millions were minted, certain coins from this year have errors or unusual metal qualities that were the result of striking anomalies at the South African Mint. These rare variants are now some of the most highly sought after by serious collectors. Some of these coins show off center strikes, double die errors, or unusual tonal variations caused by chemical reactions over time. In mint condition, with minimal wear and all details sharply defined, these rare versions fetch premium prices in auctions and among private collectors. But how high can the value go? In recent years, collectors and investors have paid astonishing amounts for rare and pristine examples of the 2002 South African 5-cent coin. One reported sale, though not officially verified in public auction records, claimed a private transaction where a unique error coin from this batch was sold for an incredible $2 million. This valuation hinges on the coin's rarity, condition, and the growing interest in rare African coinage. While not every 2002 5-cent coin is worth millions, those in uncirculated or near-mint condition can easily command anywhere between $100 to $1,000 depending on the buyer and the coin's quality. If it features a known error or variety, the value rises substantially. Always have such coins authenticated and graded by reputable services before any sale. Collectors around the world are now paying closer attention to coins from Africa, with South Africa at the forefront due to its unique designs and relatively limited international exposure. This makes coins like the 5-cent 2002 edition especially desirable for those looking to build a collection with long-term investment potential. For coin enthusiasts, this is a reminder to check your change, old boxes, or coin jars. You never know what treasures you might find, and one of those tiny copper coins could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. It's not just about the metal, it's about the story, rarity, and historical moment captured in each piece. If you're wondering how to determine if your coin is valuable, start with a close inspection. Look for visible signs of wear, any design flaws, or mint errors. Use a magnifying glass or take it to a numismatist for a professional opinion. Even common coins can become valuable with the right features. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey into the story of the 2002 South African 5-cent coin history. This coin 1 Rand 1985 Viljoen South Africa coin, and it has an astonishing value of $45,500 now. You're probably wondering, what makes this coin so special? What gives it such a sky-high value? Well, stick around as we explore its history, design, rarity, and how it became one of the most sought-after coins in the world today. To understand the true value of the 1 Rand 1985 Viljoen, we first need to take a step back into the history of South Africa in the 1980s. At the time, the country was going through some turbulent times, politically and economically. South Africa was still under the apartheid regime, a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination that would not end until 1994. The South African rand, which is the currency of South Africa, had been in use since 1961, replacing the pound. In the 1980s, inflation and political unrest were causing economic strain, but despite all that, the 1985 1 Rand coin would soon become one of the most legendary pieces of South African currency. Let's talk design. The 1985 Viljoen Rand was part of the South African government's coinage issue that featured prominent figures and symbols tied to the country's history. The coin was named after General Nicholas Jacobus Viljoen, a famous South African military leader. He played a significant role in the early days of the country's military efforts during the late 1800s. On the obverse side, you'll see an image of General Viljoen himself. This is one of the first things that makes this coin stand out. The level of detail in the engraving is truly remarkable, capturing his facial features with precision. On the reverse side, you'll notice the springbok antelope, a national symbol of South Africa, leaping gracefully. The springbok has always been a symbol of endurance and resilience, and it perfectly encapsulates the spirit of the nation during this turbulent era. Now, let's get to the juicy part. Why is this coin worth such a massive $45,500? Well, rarity plays a huge role in determining its value. Although millions of coins were minted in 1985, the Viljoen design had a few rare variants that were mistakenly released into circulation. These errors were initially overlooked by the general public, but coin collectors eventually realized that certain mints had a lower mintage. You see, out of all the 1 Rand 1985 coins, some had a rare variety or error in the minting process. These coins were part of a limited run that was accidentally struck with a different metal composition, giving them unique characteristics like unusual weight, size, or even slight design inconsistencies. that makes them highly sought after by collectors today. Coins like these are not only valuable because of their rarity, but also because they represent a piece of history. Every coin tells a story, and this one, in particular, represents the resilience of South Africa during a pivotal time in the country's history. When you hold one of these, you're holding a physical connection to a chapter in history. Now, when it comes to evaluating the value of rare coins, grading is everything. The R1 1985 Viljoen coin is no exception. Coins are graded based on their condition, whether they are uncirculated, proof, or somewhere in between a coin in mint condition or MS 70, which is the highest grade, will obviously command a premium price. The 1985 Viljoen rand with a flawless design, sharp edges, and no signs of wear can push its price up to $45,500 or more. On the other hand, if the coin is worn or has noticeable scratches, its value can drop dramatically. So, you're probably wondering, how can I get my hands on one of these rare R1 1985 Viljoen coins? Well, you might be surprised to know that they can still occasionally pop up at coin shops, estate sales, or even online auctions. The key is to keep your eyes peeled and understand what to look for. If you're planning to hunt for one of these coins, make sure to check the authenticity of the coin. Look at the markings, the design details, and most importantly, the grade of the coin. This is where expert collectors often come in, because they know exactly what to look for. Not only does the R1 1985 Viljoen coin hold immense monetary value, but it has become a cultural and historical icon for collectors. It symbolizes a country on the brink of change, a time when South Africa was undergoing a transformation that would ultimately lead to the end of apartheid and the birth of a new nation. The value of this coin is not just tied to its scarcity but also to the story it tells. If you own one of these, you're holding a piece of South African heritage that stood the test of time. So there you have it. The R1 1985 Viljoen South Africa coin, a true treasure in the world of coin collecting piece of currency, the 1965 South African 2-cent coin. Now, before you think this is just another ordinary coin, think again. This tiny piece of history could be worth a jaw-dropping $8 million. Stick around to find out why this particular coin is so extraordinary and how its value skyrocketed to unbelievable heights. So, what makes the 1965 2-cent South African coin worth such an astronomical amount? Let's start with the basics. A 2-cent coin from 1965 doesn't seem like something you'd associate with millions of dollars, right? But believe it or not, one of these coins, yes, just one, recently fetched a staggering $8 million at an auction. What could make this coin so special? Let's break it down. To understand the true value of the 1965 2-cent coin, we need to step back in time to South Africa in the 1960s. During this time, South Africa was still under the rule of the apartheid government, and the country's currency was primarily issued in different denominations of cents and rand. The 2-cent coin, like many others at the time, was issued by the South African Reserve Bank to represent smaller amounts of currency in circulation. At that time, the 2-cent coin was made from bronze, a metal that was relatively easy to produce. The minting of these coins continued for years without any major interruptions. But what made the 1965 coin so unique? One key factor that sets the 1965 South African 2-cent coin apart from all the others is its rarity. You see, most of the 2-cent coins from 1965 were produced with a standard design, featuring the iconic Protea flower on the reverse side and the 2 denomination on the obverse. However, there's a very rare variant of this coin that features an S mint mark, indicating it was produced at the Pretoria Mint in South Africa. This particular variant is incredibly rare, with only a handful of them ever being struck. Most of the 2-cent coins in circulation today don't have this S mint mark, and because of that, this version is highly sought after by collectors around the world. So, let's talk about the minting error that turned this regular coin into a collector's dream. In 1965, there was an issue during the minting process, a mistake that very few people knew about at the time. During production, a small batch of these 2-cent coins was struck with a misalignment, causing this mint mark to appear incorrectly on some of the coins. This error was not noticed immediately, and as a result, only a few of these coins ever made it into circulation. Over the years, these rare coins were either lost, damaged, or hoarded by collectors who knew they were something special. But it wasn't until much later that the true value of these rare mint mark coins became clear. In 2019, one of these rare 1965 2-cent coins with the S mint mark was sold at an auction in South Africa. The bidding was fierce, with collectors from all over the globe vying for the opportunity to own this piece of history. What started as a modest bid soon turned into a bidding war, and eventually, the coin was sold for an eye-popping $8 million. How did a small 2-cent coin from 1965 fetch such an incredible price? Well, rarity and demand played a huge part, but also the fact that this coin was in near-perfect condition. The higher the quality of a coin, the higher its value. In this case, it was a perfect storm of rarity, error, and condition that resulted in the staggering price. Now, you might be wondering, why do minting errors like this one make coins so valuable? Well, minting errors are rare by their very nature. And when a coin is struck incorrectly, it becomes one of a kind. For collectors, the uniqueness makes the coin an invaluable treasure. Over the years, we've seen coins with double strikes, off-center prints, and even coins with missing details fetch high prices. It's these types of mistakes that make collectors excited because each coin tells its own story. But it's not just the minting error that makes a coin valuable. There are several factors to consider when determining a coin's worth. These include the rarity of the coin, its condition, which is known as its grade, and of course, its historical significance. For a coin like the 1965 South African 2-cent, it was the combination of all of these factors, rarity, the minting error, and its historical context, that pushed its value to the millions. That if you're looking to get into coin collecting, or you want to know how to spot rare coins like this, there are a few tips you can follow. First, always look for the mint mark. This tells you where the coin was struck. Secondly, check the condition of the coin. Is it in near perfect shape, or has it been worn down? And lastly, always do your research. Understand the history behind the coin and its rarity, as this can significantly affect its value. So, to wrap things up, the 1965 South African 2-cent coin with the S mint mark is a prime example of how a small error in minting can turn a regular coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this story, the 1988 South African 1-center coin. You've probably heard rumors that this coin is worth millions of dollars, and today, we're going to dig deep and figure out if there's any truth to that. Will cover the history behind this coin, its rarity, its value in the market, and whether it's really worth that staggering $2 million. So grab your magnifying glasses and let's get started. But before we dive into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss another exciting coin discovery. Let's start by looking at the history of the South African 1-cent coin from 1988. This coin was part of a series of smaller denomination coins that were issued by the South African Reserve Bank. The design on the 1988 coin is quite symbolic and connects deeply with South Africa's culture and heritage. On the front, we have the famous image of a springbok, a national symbol of South Africa, representing the country's wildlife and natural beauty. On the reverse side, the coin features the value 1C along with the year of issue. In this case, 1988. The South African 1-cent coins, like many others around the world, were used for daily transactions, so it was a common sight during the late 80s. But what made this particular coin stand out in recent years? Well, it has to do with both its scarcity and the fact that it was part of a coin series that was discontinued shortly after 1988. Now, let's talk rarity, and here's where things start to get interesting. The 1988 1-cent coin was part of a specific coin series that was only produced for a short time. In fact, by 1990, South Africa decided to phase out the 1-cent denomination. So, this coin is already rare by virtue of its low mintage. But here's where the real twist comes in. There are rumors circulating that a very limited number of these coins were actually struck with a minting error, which makes them significantly more valuable. Some collectors claim that there are 1988 1-cent coins that have a slight misprint, either in the year or the design. That makes them exceptionally rare. But do these error coins actually exist? Let's take a closer look at what some experts are saying. Coin errors are not as common as many believe, but when they do occur, they can drastically increase the value of a coin. In the case of the 1988 South African 1-center, we've seen instances where coins with subtle errors in the springbok design or in the date printing have surfaced. These coins are incredibly difficult to find, which adds to their allure. Okay, let's get to the big question. Is the 1988 South African 1-center coin actually worth $2 million? That's a pretty bold claim, but let's break it down and see where this figure comes from. First, we have to consider the market for rare coins. Prices can fluctuate, but rare coins in good condition can fetch some incredible amounts of money. The 1988 South African 1-center, if it's in mint condition and is an error coin, could be worth a significant amount of money, perhaps even thousands or tens of thousands. However, the $2 million figure seems to be a bit of an exaggeration unless a particular error coin has sold for that price at an auction. At the moment, there's no verified sale of a 1988 1-cent coin at that price point, but if one were to surface, it could spark a frenzy in the numismatic community. But here's an important point to keep in mind. When it comes to rare coins, the value is determined not just by rarity, but by demand. So if a collector finds a true mint condition 1988 South African 1-center with a verified error, and if that coin has a high level of demand from international collectors, it could indeed see its value soar to impressive heights. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a 1988 South African 1-center coin in your possession and you're wondering if it's worth anything close to the big bucks, here's how you can determine its value. First, you'll want to carefully examine the condition of the coin. Coins are graded based on their appearance, and this is one of the most crucial factors in determining a coin's value. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin typically becomes. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state or proof, with higher grade coins often fetching much higher prices. Pay special attention to any wear, scratches, or fading in the design, as these will impact its value. If you suspect that you have an error coin, you should take it to a professional numismatist or a certified coin grading service. They'll be able to verify whether your coin is truly a rare find and provide you with an official grade. The grading process can take some time, but it's well worth it if you think you've stumbled upon something special. So, you've got a 1988 South African 1-center coin, and you confirmed its rarity. Now what? Well, you want to protect that coin and consider where to sell it. High-value coins are best sold through reputable auction houses or specialized coin dealers. Websites like Heritage Auctions, eBay for certified coins, or local coin shows are great places to start. Just make sure you're dealing with professionals who can authenticate your coin. And here's a pro tip. Always store your coins in a safe, climate-controlled environment. Use coin holders or protective cases to prevent scratches, fingerprints, or any environmental damage. To recap, the 1988 South African 1-center coin is certainly an interesting piece of history. The 50-cent South African 1996 coin. It's not just any old coin you might find lying around. There's a huge story here about rarity, history, and how this coin could actually be worth a whopping $5 million. You heard that right. $5 million. Stick around till the end, because we're going to go through the complete history, the value, how to identify a rare version of this coin, and whether it's really possible for this coin to fetch such a massive price today. Before we get into the specifics of the 50-cent coin from 1996, let's take a quick look at the history of South African coinage. South Africa has a rich history of minting coins, beginning as far back as the Dutch East India Company in the 1600s. But it was in 1961 when the country officially became a republic, and the rand replaced the South African pound as the national currency. Over the years, various coins were issued, each carrying unique designs and symbols that reflected the country's cultural heritage and political landscape. The 50 cents coin in question today was part of a new series minted in 1996, featuring the famous South African wildlife design. The 50-cent South African 1996 coin features a beautifully detailed design. On the obverse, you'll find a portrait of former President Nelson Mandela, a pivotal figure in South Africa's history. This coin was issued shortly after the end of apartheid, marking a new era in the country's political landscape. Then on the reverse side, we have the iconic springbok antelope, a symbol of South Africa's wildlife and national pride. The coin is made from cupronickel, which gives it a nice, shiny finish and a decent level of durability. But the story doesn't end there. There's something incredibly rare about this coin. Here's where things get interesting. In 1996, a rare error occurred during the minting process of the 50 cents coin. Most of the 1996 coins were produced with the usual springbok design, but a small number of coins were struck with an error that makes them incredibly valuable. These rare coins were mistakenly produced with the wrong reverse die, and as a result, the springbok was missing or distorted. A mistake like this happens very rarely, and when it does, it creates a valuable collector's item. So, how do you know if you have one of these rare error coins? It's all about the design detail. If the springbok looks odd, or the minting seems slightly off, that could indicate you're holding one of the valuable error-struck coins. Now let's talk about how these error coins have become so incredibly valuable. A well-preserved 50 cent South Africa 1996 coin with a rare minting mistake has sold for hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, depending on its condition and rarity. Let's break it down. A coin in mint condition, with the error clearly visible, could be worth up to $5 million, especially if it has been graded highly by a professional numismatic organization. Coins with minting errors are sought after by collectors all over the world because they are one of a kind, making them incredibly desirable. Why are people paying these massive amounts? It's because rare coins, especially those with historical significance and unique errors, are one of the most lucrative types of investments in the world. Coin collectors and investors are always on the lookout for the next big find. So, how do you spot this rare 50 cents coin? Well, you'll need a keen eye for detail. Here's where to look for one. The year, it has to be from 1996. While other years might have a similar design, it's the 1996 coin that is the most valuable. Point 2, that the springbok design. Examine the reverse side carefully. If you notice any distortions or irregularities in the springbok antelope image, you could be looking at a rare error coin. 3. Condition. A coin in excellent condition with no signs of wear will naturally be more valuable. Coins that are well preserved are graded higher by experts and fetch higher prices. You can use a magnifying glass or a coin loop to look for small details that might set your coin apart from a regular 50 cents coin. If you think you have one of these rare 50 cents coins, don't just stash it away. Here's what you should do. 1. Get it appraised. The first step is to take it to a professional coin appraiser or numismatic expert. They can tell you if it's a real minting error and how much it's worth. Point 2. Get it graded next. It's important to get your coin graded by a reputable service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. A high-grade coin will always sell for a premium. Point 3. Sell it at auction. If you have a truly rare coin, you might want to consider selling it at a specialized coin auction. These are the places where serious buyers and collectors come to find such unique treasures. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is the 50 cent South African 1996 coin really worth $5 million? Well, it depends. Not every 1996 coin is worth that much. The rare ones with clear minting errors are the ones that fetch such high prices. But don't get your hopes up just yet. The value depends on a lot of factors like condition, rarity, and demand at the time of sale. That said, if you've got one of these error coins in your collection, you could be holding on to something incredibly valuable. So, there you have it. The 50 cent South African 1996 coin is an incredibly fascinating piece of history. Top 2. The coin rare 1992 South Africa 20 cent coin. And we're going to explore why it could fetch as much as $4 million. Yes, you heard that right. $4 million. So, If you have one of these coins lying around, you might want to stick around for the next 20 minutes as we uncover all the secrets of this remarkable piece of numismatic history. The 1992 20-cent coin is a key player in the story of South Africa's coinage history. Issued in the early 90s, South Africa was undergoing significant political and social changes, leading to the transition from apartheid to a more democratic system. The 20-cent coin itself features a striking design, showcasing a springbok, one of South Africa's most iconic animals. Known for its speed and agility, in 1992, a regular production of these coins took place. But what makes this particular year special isn't just the design. It's the incredibly rare misprints and limited mintage that happen behind the scenes. Now, what's crucial here is that while most of these coins are relatively common, a small portion of them were misstruck or had defects during the minting process. This is where things get interesting. There were several errors that occurred in 1992, including an extremely rare coin that went into circulation with a completely incorrect die, one that features the wrong inscription or a misaligned design. These coins are the ones collectors are hunting for. Imagine holding a coin that's worth more than just its face value of 20 cents. We're talking about a coin that could be worth $4 million. How does that happen? It's all about rarity, demand, and the mistake made during production. In 1992, a small batch of 20-cent coins was struck with an error that caused the coin to be misaligned or display incorrect markings. It's important to understand that error coins, particularly those from well-known mints like the South African Mint, are highly prized by collectors. And when a coin like this is discovered, its value can skyrocket. As you can see in this comparison, the misstruck coin looks very similar to the standard version at first glance. But upon closer inspection, the difference is unmistakable. These rare error coins are incredibly valuable because they're unique, and the story behind them makes them even more desirable to collectors. So, what exactly makes error coins so valuable? Well, when it comes to coins like the 1992 South Africa 20 cent, rarity is the key factor. The fewer the errors, the higher the demand among collectors. And when a coin is this rare, collectors go crazy for it. It's a mix of history, scarcity, and the thrill of owning something that not many people have. Error coins are typically graded by numismatists, experts who assess their authenticity, condition, and rarity. A coin with the right error in pristine condition could be worth a lot more than its face value. Now, $4 million might sound like an exaggeration, but there have been cases where specific misprinted coins have sold for astronomical amounts. Take, for instance, a famous 20-cent error coin that recently sold at auction for millions. This shows us that even a small minting mistake can lead to a huge payday. But of course, these types of error coins don't come around every day. Alright, so now you're probably wondering how you can spot a potential 1992 South Africa 20-cent coin error in your collection. The first step is to check for visual signs of misalignment or irregularities in the design. You're looking for things like doubled inscriptions, incorrect mint marks, or a misaligned die. If the coin looks off-center or has any unusual features, there's a good chance it might be an error coin. Take a look at this example. Notice how the image and text are slightly askew? That's an example of a misaligned die. This type of error could be one that increases the value of your coin. Also, you'll want to check the coin's mint mark and compare it to others from the same year. If something doesn't seem right, get it appraised by an expert. So, let's say you found a rare 1992 South Africa 20-cent error coin. What do you do next? Into the fascinating world of coin collecting and talk about one coin that could be worth a staggering $2 million. Yes, you heard that right. $2 million. If you've ever wondered what makes coins so valuable, or if you have any old coins lying around, this video is for you. Today, we'll explore the rare 1965 10-cent coin from South Africa and why it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Let's start with a bit of history. The South African 10-cent coin was first issued in 1961 as part of the country's move to decimalize its currency. Before that, South Africa had been using the pound as its currency. Now, 1965 was an important year for South Africa as it was a period of significant political and economic changes in the country. Under the apartheid regime, the economy was shifting and new coins were being minted as part of the country's national identity. This 10-cent coin features the famous springbok antelope on the reverse side, which is an iconic symbol of South Africa. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of the then Prime Minister, Hendrik Verwoerd, who played a significant role in South Africa's apartheid system. Now, let's get into what makes this coin so rare and valuable. The 1965 South Africa 10-cent coin is particularly interesting because it was minted in very limited quantities. The standard 10-cent coins were produced in both copper, nickel, and silver, but the 1965 coin, specifically, is part of a very rare set. Most of the coins produced in this year are in relatively good condition, but a few key pieces are highly sought after by collectors for their scarcity and the year they were produced. That what's crucial to understand here is the condition of the coin. Coin collectors and numismatists often refer to the rarity of a coin by its minting era, its historical significance, and its condition. A coin in mint state, meaning it's nearly perfect, will have a far higher value than one that's been heavily worn over the years. Now, you may be wondering, what makes this specific 1965 coin worth such an incredible amount of money? Well, it all comes down to a very rare variety of this coin that was accidentally minted with a unique error, a double die or a misstrike. This minting mistake resulted in coins that had a more prominent, clearer strike with extra features that weren't intended to be there. Because of this error, collectors are willing to pay a premium for any coin that features this anomaly. The 1965 10-cent coin with this double die or misstrike has been known to fetch bids of up to $2 million at auctions. You might think, how does a simple mistake make a coin worth so much? Well, in the world of numismatics, errors like these are highly sought after, especially when they're as rare as this. Collectors know that the rarer the error, the higher the value. In fact, this particular coin is considered to be one of the holy grail finds in South African numismatics. Only a handful of these coins with the error exist, which makes them exceptionally valuable. Now, let's talk about how you can identify whether you have a valuable coin on your hands. First off, examine the date. Look for a 1965 coin. Then, check the features of the coin closely. You want to look for any doubling in the numbers or the design, which could indicate a double die error. Sometimes, these errors can be subtle, so make sure you look carefully. Use a magnifying glass or a coin microscope if you can. If you think you've found an error coin, your best bet is to have it professionally graded by a trusted numismatist or grading service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. These organizations can assess your coin and assign it a grade, which significantly impacts its value. Once you've identified a rare coin and have it professionally graded, you may want to sell it. The best place to start is through major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, or even eBay, where many rare coins are sold to the highest bidder. Another option is to sell it through specialized numismatic dealers or online forums dedicated to coin collectors. But remember, always be cautious and do your research. Only deal with trusted professionals to avoid scams. There you have it. The 1965 South African 10-cent coin. An artifact that could be worth millions of dollars due to a rare minting error. If you have one of these coins in your collection store,